taking something about your arsehole before I do it.
John,
All
thank you,
these
John.
fucking little kids. I'm a machine. Me, thanking anybody question who I am here. If I take them, come on.
I think he's referring to Tyson Fury. Most people, when they want to talk about their children, they might pull their mobile phone out and show a few pictures.
Shit about the Cobra, because listen, even now, and I'm not looking for a fight, I don't want to fight, I'm done and dusted, career's finished, but I'd absolutely splatter you, easy. Anybody who loses, well, you didn't lose, anyone who nearly loses to fake Paul, right, cannot be getting in the ring with a 4-time world champ, Hall of Famer like the Cobra.
I think he saw your comments and basically said he'll whoop your ass as well.
Oh yeah, another brokey looking for a payday. Big whoop. Out of everybody. Another brokey looking for a payday.
John Fury completely loses his patience at the press conference, exploding at Carl Froch and Eddie Hall as the situation spirals out of control.
Man, he's a bigger weight. When he settles into this weight, you'll see the damage he'll be doing.
What starts as verbal tension quickly turns into full-blown hostility, with John Fury firing off direct threats and making it clear he's ready to go at anyone who steps in front of him or his family. The atmosphere instantly becomes toxic and aggressive, with even Tommy Fury getting dragged into the chaos as egos collide and intimidation takes over the room.
No beef for you at all, but don't talk shit about me, because it's not gonna end well for you. About talking about mentioning your name for clout. I'm mentioning your name because you're chatting shit. Your old man stepped out of line. He's been put in his place, been put back.
John Fury then shifts into a more calculated tone, breaking down the physical transformation and intensity he expects after weight changes. He suggests that once everything settles, a far more dangerous version of the fighter will emerge. He reflects on Tommy Fury's preparation, explaining that the entire plan was built around pushing limits and preparing for a serious test. There's confidence in his words, but it's mixed with raw aggression, showing that this buildup was always meant to bring out maximum intensity.
An idiot. Plain and simple. I mean, geez. I mean, look, we've all seen the tantrums he's had. Headbutting walls and headbutting people and smashing Perspex glass and holding his balls and saying he's the king of the world and King Kong balls and whatever else. And I was just fed up of it,
Carl Froch doesn't stay quiet. He fires back with serious confidence, completely dismissing everything coming from John Fury and Tommy Fury. Even though he's retired, Froch makes it clear he still believes he would dominate anyone who steps up to him. His tone is sharp, almost disrespectful, adding more fuel to the fire and proving that even retired fighters are still deeply involved in the ego battle surrounding this feud.
Both of them. They need to fucking have a better sense and show some professionalism in this.
Eddie Hall then steps in with visible frustration, clearly fed up with all the talking. He calls out the constant noise around the fight scene and demands real action instead of empty words. He directly targets figures like John Fury and others involved, criticizing the chaos, the egos, and the lack of respect. His tone is aggressive and blunt.
Be any more of it, that's for sure. And everybody wants to show some respect to each other. And let's see the fight where it should happen in the ring.
Showing how this situation has shifted from promotion into something much more personal and heated.
The pressure is now on John to behave himself. He's distracted a lot of attention and talk, and I'm quite sure someone will have a word with him.
Tyson Fury reacts by questioning why his father is even being dragged into potential fight scenarios with Carl Froch. He makes it clear he would never allow something like that to happen, pointing out that Froch is still dangerous and capable of real damage. For Tyson, this crosses the line between entertainment and genuine risk, and he's not willing to let it go that far.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's boxing, it's family. John's John. Both goading each other. Both very personal. Both means a lot to everybody. Shouldn't have done it.
Frank Warren steps in with a firm and serious response, making it clear he believes the entire situation reflects badly on boxing. He stresses that incidents like this have no place in a professional environment. Even though he didn't witness everything firsthand, he still acknowledges how serious it is. His concern is focused on the sport's reputation, warning that moments like this create unnecessary negativity and distract from the fighters and the actual competition.
I love that John is just so confident in himself. He would gas inside of 2 rounds. 2 rounds, but if he even made it 2 rounds. with Carl Froch. He would gas probably in the first round. He's 60 years old. I'm not saying he couldn't hobble about for 4 rounds or something, but he would be gassed inside of 2. Because the way that John runs...
Johnny Nelson offers a more psychological take, explaining that John Fury is an emotional figure who often gets carried away, especially when family is involved. According to Nelson, John tends to react first and think later, and that pattern is now putting him under pressure. While he understands the emotion in boxing, he also makes it clear there's a line that shouldn't be crossed, and right now, all eyes are on how John Fury handles himself moving forward. Eddie Hearn adds a balanced perspective, admitting that things have clearly become too personal between John Fury and Carl Froch. He acknowledges that while this kind of behavior isn't ideal and can look bad publicly, it's also part of boxing's reality. Controversy, whether right or wrong, brings attention. In his view, emotion and conflict are what drive interest, and situations like this, uncomfortable as they may be, end up building even more hype around potential fights. Finally, a more technical breakdown highlights the physical reality of John Fury stepping into any serious fight scenario with someone like Carl Froch.
But if Carl did do it, I think Carl would smash him. But I just don't think he will do it, because he's got that memory, he's got that something about him, that he's at an age where he's still physically fit enough and strong enough if he commits himself to.
At his age, endurance becomes a major issue. Even short bursts of action could quickly drain him, exposing the clear gap between elite-level fighters and someone much older. It's a reminder that beyond all the talk, the physical side of boxing cannot be ignored. At this point, the situation has gone far beyond normal promotion. It's personal, emotional, and dangerously close to crossing lines that can't be undone. While no one completely questions John Fury's toughness, the discussion makes one thing clear. Professional level intensity is a completely different challenge. At that level, age and conditioning become decisive factors, and any potential fight scenario would demand far more than raw aggression alone.
And then there's Froch, who's been paid to fight. He's used to getting money for knocking guys out. I'm sure if they put enough knocks in front of Carl Froch, in front of Carl Froch, then he might rise to it. But he ain't going to rise to it if there's no money on the table, if there's no end goal. If you want to punch up, you can go out in the street and have that.
Johnny Nelson offers a balanced but critical take, suggesting Carl Froch still has the physical tools to perform at a high level if he truly commits. However, he questions whether Froch would even take such a fight seriously. For Nelson, it's not just about ability anymore. It's about mindset, preparation, and whether the motivation is really there. Even if Froch is capable, the bigger question is whether he sees any real reason to step back into that environment.
Carl's a genuine, world champion level fighter, and he's actually bigger than you'd think, right, when you meet him. He's a lot younger than John, and his peak was outrageously good, right? And he's kept himself in shape. And even now, I remember I had a chat with Eddie Hearn, about what fighter you've met is the toughest fighter. And he said to me, if I'm ever in a bit of bother, the man I want standing next to me at a pub or whatever is
Duke McKenzie shifts the focus to the business side, explaining that decisions at this level are rarely driven by ego alone. For someone like Carl Froch, a return would only make sense if the financial reward and purpose are strong enough. Without that, there's no logic in taking unnecessary risks. His view separates emotional reactions from professional thinking, reinforcing that elite fighters operate through calculated decisions, not impulse. Pain Game builds on Froch's legacy, highlighting his reputation as a genuine world-level operator. Even years after his prime, he's still seen as physically imposing and sharp. His toughness, conditioning, and past performances made him one of the most dangerous fighters of his era. Mentions of strong backing from figures like Eddie Hearn only reinforced the respect he still carries behind the scenes.
John Fury is a big bully, and big bullies need putting into place. And if I'm the man that has to do it, I will do it. I don't want to beat an old man up. I don't want to start on a 60-year-old man. But when I look back, when I beat George Groves up in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium, rendering him unconscious, he was 11 years younger than me. I'm only 10 years younger than Big John Fury. I know he doesn't look well, does he? He looks a bit older. I don't want to give him any stick, but he's 10 years older than me, 60-year-old man. I'm pressing on for 50. So, is it a fit?
This isn't just a retired name. This is someone with a lasting presence and credibility. Carl Froch himself leans fully into that confidence. He speaks with a sharp, almost dismissive tone, making it clear he still sees himself levels above potential challengers. He openly suggests he could control and embarrass opponents if pushed into a fight.
Can you look yourself in the mirror and say, I've done the right thing? And that's the question.
At the same time, he criticizes those trying to build attention off his name, implying they haven't earned the same legacy. Even in retirement, his mindset remains that of a top-level fighter, proud, direct, and unapologetic.
And you know I'm not all mouth. And Dom's got some experience with John from his fighting days because
Tony Bellew brings a different energy, shifting the focus toward accountability. He emphasizes that in heated situations, individuals have to reflect on their own actions rather than worry about public opinion. His message is calm but firm. Self-awareness and personal responsibility matter more than outside noise, especially in emotionally charged rivalries.
I don't think there'll ever be a fight with John Fury, but using John as a tool to perhaps move up that ladder of the Furies and eventually get a Tyson Fury fight in the MMA world would be a spectacle to behold.
McKenzie returns with a more technical breakdown, pointing out the unpredictability in certain fighting styles. He describes how explosive aggression can quickly turn into fatigue, creating a dangerous imbalance. While early moments may look threatening, stamina and rhythm often become weaknesses over time. This contrast between early danger and later vulnerability is what makes these scenarios so unpredictable from a real fight perspective.
I go in there and expect to box and do the best that I can. And if I do that, I only see it going one way.
Over 100 pounds a week.
But don't forget, at the end of the day, I know people say, oh, you couldn't knock KSI out. KSI wouldn't stand and fight. KSI was flapping all over the ring like a bird. He wouldn't stand still.
Eddie Hall then touches on the entertainment side of it all, explaining how crossover moments like these, especially involving controversial figures like John Fury, can generate massive attention. Whether people agree with it or not, this kind of drama pulls in audiences and keeps the spotlight firmly on the situation. At this stage, it's no longer just about who says what. It's about reality versus hype, emotion versus logic, and whether any of this actually leads to something real inside the ring.
No, not really. It's thuggish behaviour. John Fury's, is boorish, thuggish, unedifying, unpalatable, uncouth, vulgar behaviour. Absolutely. But what do you expect from John Fury?
Well,
John Fury's been in prison for gouging someone's eyes out. What did you expect him to do? Convert into a Samaritan? Is it a nice look? No. Was it a nice look over the years in boxing about so many things? This ridiculous sentimentalising of society and expecting everyone to behave in their best version of them.
Eddie Hall makes it clear that even if a direct fight never actually happens, the storyline itself has huge value. The tension, the personalities, and the chaos can easily translate into massive interest across different combat platforms. From his perspective, it's not just about traditional boxing anymore. It's about spectacle, audience demand, and creating moments that people want to watch. He leans into the entertainment side, suggesting rivalries like this can evolve into big crossover events, even in formats like MMA.
What John does, he's very, very, very passionate around his sons when they're fighting, and it gets something out of him. I spoke to him, literally face to face, and I said, well, what is upset? He said, I don't want people calling me out because I'll take any man on.
Yeah.
You know the comments.
Yeah.
My guy came from the...
Tommy Fury then shifts the focus back to pure boxing, showing full confidence in his own ability. He believes that if he performs at his level, the result is already decided. Taking aim at KSI, Tommy criticizes his style as unsteady and overly defensive, suggesting he struggles under pressure. He emphasizes his own advantages in size, skill, and discipline, making it clear he expects a one-sided outcome. His tone is calm but dismissive, clearly trying to undermine his opponent while reinforcing belief in himself. Simon Jordan doesn't hold back at all when addressing John Fury's behavior. He describes it as chaotic, unacceptable, and far from professional. At the same time, he adds a layer of realism, pointing out that boxing has always been filled with aggressive personalities and emotional outbursts. His take sits right in the middle, acknowledging the damage to the sport's image, but also saying this kind of behavior shouldn't surprise anyone familiar with the fight game. Gareth A. Davies brings in the emotional angle, explaining that John Fury is deeply driven by family loyalty and pride. When his family name or his son's career is involved, his reactions become intense and unpredictable.
Watch who wins that one.
Difficult one to call, don't it? You got to go with Cobra. You got to go with a Cobra, mate.
Really?
The Cobra's dangerous. He's still in shape. 48 years of age.
John's standing over there behind you.
You got to go with John Fury. Yeah, no, it kicked off a little bit. But it wasn't only Carl Froch that he went into either, did he? He actually went into Lennox Lewis as well. He started steaming into Lennox Lewis a little bit, and I go, whoa, who wins that one?
According to Davies, that emotional edge is exactly what makes him so volatile in public situations. It's not calculated, it's instinctive. And that's why things escalate so quickly around him. Spencer Oliver expands the discussion into full fight speculation, breaking down the idea of John Fury facing Carl Froch, while even referencing other big names like Lennox Lewis. He acknowledges Froch's elite background and dangerous reputation, but also points out John Fury's fearless, confrontational nature. The conversation quickly drifts into fantasy matchup territory, where hype and imagination take over logic. His tone reflects that unpredictability. These debates aren't about clear answers. They're about keeping the audience hooked. At this point, the situation between John Fury, Carl Froch, and Eddie Hall has gone way beyond simple trash talk. It's now a full-blown clash of egos, pride, and reputations. On one side, John Fury stands on raw emotion and family loyalty, refusing to back down from anyone. On the other, Carl Froch carries that cold, proven world champion mindset, still believing he's levels above the rest. And then there's Eddie Hall, bringing explosive energy, pushing everything closer to confrontation and chaos. Now the real question is simple. Who actually turns words into action? Who backs it up when it stops being talk? Do you think John Fury has crossed the line this time? Or could he actually shock everyone if it ever became physical? Drop your opinion below.